On Robin Hood Radio, once again, we just hail the fact that this summer we are able to get back to normal. And getting back to normal includes the incredible arts scene, which is in our tri-state region. Arts of all sorts. We are now able to go out and enjoy once again, not virtual, but in person. And one of those events that's coming up is Berkshire Opera. Don Giovanni is coming up at Berkshire Opera at the Mahaiwe Theater in Great Barrington on Saturday, August 20th. Tuesday, August 23rd, and Friday, August 26th. And with us today, we have Jonathan Loy, who is the co-founder of Berkshire Opera and also the director of Don Giovanni. Welcome, Jonathan. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the fact that we're getting back to where people can come out and see things in person. And one of those things happens to be opera. And let's talk a little bit about Don Giovanni. Why did you pick this production?
Well, we were supposed to originally do this in summer of 2020. As part of our programming, we program 4, 5, 6 years out so that we can cast the singers that we need, and pretty strategic about why we pick certain operas. And 2020 was a year that we'd be ready to do Mozart's Don Giovanni as a main stage production. Obviously now, fast forward to 2022, we're fortunate enough that most of the cast that was supposed to do it is coming to join us this summer. Most of them were all available to come and do the production with us. The same design team, and it's one of the best operas in the repertoire, so it should sell very well, and it's just an incredible piece.
It's interesting. You're right, because for even people that don't follow operas closely, Mozart's Don Giovanni is a name that is not unfamiliar. It's almost like if you're a political candidate and you're running
recognizable.
The name recognition is right there. Now, putting together an opera. Now, I've talked to people about putting together shows at the different playhouses, assembling casts and everything like that. But putting together an opera is, I think, one step harder and above that, simply because of the type of music, the lyrics, how you have to tie it all together and hold true to the history of the show. How hard was it to set this up 2 years ago and now, once again, put all the puzzle pieces back together?
Yeah, well, look, opera is, the most complex, the most, it is the great, I don't want to say, it's subjective, but it is an art form that incorporates all other art forms into one. So, which also makes it the most expensive art form in the world to produce. Brian Garman, the artistic director, my co-founder, is the one that does all the casting. And so we're always approving, next year's budget and 2 years' budgets to be able to cast the artists ahead of time. So in opera, people are booked quite far out. So in order to get the international talent that we have, the world-class talent that we have here, have to be looking far in advance. In terms of production, which is what I do, we put design teams together also at least a year in advance. And I direct the main stage operas, in addition to being the director of production, is the person that puts everything together. So I always am starting to create the opera for next year at least a year in advance. And it's a big process. Brian's doing the artist. He's also has the orchestra to deal with. I have the set designer, lighting designer, we get makeup designer, costume designer, set designer, and we have to coordinate all those things. They take my vision, and we, build it and make it into a reality that people obviously end up seeing, on the stage every summer. It's difficult, but it's a joy, and we do it. We love to enrich and entertain the lives of the people in the Berkshires.
And I think one of the most important things about this production and about opera, it's going to be sung in Italian. And how are you going to, for people that don't know Italian and follow it, are you going to have subtitles somehow?
Yes. I mean, like every other regional company in the country, we project, for our main stage production, we project super titles either we incorporate it into the set design or it's above the stage. So, yeah, people can read the translation. And I would always say to anyone maybe that's newer to the art form that doesn't know the story, just read the libretto. Go Google Don Giovanni, read the synopsis, maybe read through a little bit of the libretto, listen to some music, so you don't have to be staring at the words and missing what's going on stage. And also, I'd say this opera, like great operas do, and if I do my job as a stage director, you can watch the show, get a sense from what's happening musically and how the singers are interacting with each other, what's going on, without having to stare at the words. But they're there for people that want to know exactly word for word what's going on.
We are speaking with Jonathan Loy, who is co-founder, Berkshire Opera, also director of Don Giovanni. What you just said makes so much sense. Years ago, when I moved to Maine in broadcasting, many, many years ago, I loved to watch hockey, and I was watching Hockey Night in Canada. I had no idea. And it's broadcast in French. But
right.
I got so into it because, A, hockey was from Canada, and the language barrier didn't matter. And by the end of the season, I had picked up enough where I was understood what they were saying, but it was the sheer joy of watching it. And that's the whole thing about opera. You have these booming, incredible voices. You have these sets. You have these costumes. I would think that people can just go and enjoy the grandness of the production.
Yeah, I mean, the heightened emotion and everything really tells you all you need to know. And, yeah, you're exactly right. Absolutely.
Now, a question for you: how is Berkshire Opera doing? I know it's really tough. 2 years of COVID and everything, and I just think to bring opera to this area on a basis like you do is an incredible asset. How is it going? How's the public responding to this?
Yeah, really well. And I would say we just had our gala June 5th, and it just proves the point that after 7 years, we do really have a very dedicated fan base here of people that are willing to support us. Like any arts institution, I can say we're doing well, which is the truth, but we always need new people. We always need more money coming in. As we grow, that means that you need more resources in order to sustain that growth. And it was a point, for us not to go too quickly. We're taking our time. We do have 2 productions now. Our second stage series. If I could, I would love to just kind of give a brief overview of everything that's happening this summer. May I do that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. So the kind of overview of BOF's 2022 summer season is, as you said, main stage Don Giovanni, August 20, 23, 26 at the Mahaiwe. Our second stage production is Jake Heggie's 3 Decembers. It's in English, where we do not do super titles because we really believe that people can really understand what's going on. And this opera is an intimate family drama with a nod to Broadway, and it's based on a play by Terrence McNally. And this is July 21 and 23 at PS 21 in Chatham. And then we do every year to reach our mission of making opera accessible, a free concert. And that is, the free concert is High on the Ramparts, spotlight on music of Black composers. And it's an evening of arias and art songs by Black composers sung by the renowned soprano Kirsten Piper Brown, who people may have just seen in Lincoln Center Theater's Intimate Apparel, and tenor Joshua Blue, who is also singing our Don Ottavio, the tenor role in Don Giovanni. And that's August 10th at the Berkshire Museum in Pittsfield. It's free, but you have to make reservations, and they usually go really quickly. And all of that is at berkshireoperafestival.org.
Now, assembling the cast for this, I look at your cast, and I think there's eight cast members that you've got featured in this. Is it hard to search and find the right talent? I mean, when you put on a Broadway show, when you put on a show like that, there's much more of a talent pool to choose from. Is it harder trying to put this talent pool together?
Well, Brian, the artistic director, does our casting for us, but I'll speak on his behalf. We've been in the business a really long time. Actually similar to Broadway, there's a huge talent pool of singers. The issue is getting them far enough in advance. But Brian has great relationships with all the management agencies, right? And he has a database of thousands of singers, and he's always traveling, going to different opera companies, and he also sits through lots of competitions. So he's very well versed in the world of casting. And so it's, like anyone who casts, he has his finger on the pulse. And that's why we end up with the artists that we do.
Now, speaking about the artists, how did you rehearse for this? Was it virtual? Was it getting together?
No, we absolutely get together. So for opera, it's generally a much shorter period than like Broadway. Broadway, they spend months rehearsing. Opera, because the singers, basically everyone is coming in already knowing, no one's off. No one's on book, right? Yep. Everyone knows their music. They know their words. Even if they're making a debut, even if they've never sung the role before, they're coming in knowing it. And then when we get into the room together to rehearse, which is usually 2 weeks in the rehearsal room where we're doing the blocking and going through music with Maestro, that's where everything is shaped into how Brian and I want it to be in our production. And then you hit the stage for Tech Week, and you spend a week doing on stage with first piano rehearsals, and then you add the orchestra in. And while that's happening, prior to that, the orchestra arrives, and Brian is doing only orchestra rehearsals. Then you put the singers together with the orchestra, and then finally during Tech Week, after the first couple piano rehearsals, you start doing stage and orchestra rehearsals, where the singers start putting on the costume, wigs, and makeup. And then I've been lighting, 12 hours a day also. So you put that all together. But really, it's a 3-week, amazingly. It takes, with all the year leading up to it of all the talking and meetings, once the set starts getting built in June, July, and it all gets loaded in, it's kind of a 3-week process all in. And the singers are here for about a month because then once it opens, they're here for another week and a half through the 3 performances. So it's kind of an amazingly short period of time after all of the prep to actually put it together.
But it's an intense period of time. It must...
Very
intense. It must be a little hair-raising while you're going through that 3-week period. But then, is there a certain, a feeling of loneliness after it's come and gone?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think anyone that's in the theater. I think the reason we all do it, Brian and I and the administrative staff, we spend the whole year putting everything together, and then boom, 3 weeks, you're done. So there's absolutely, being in the rehearsal room for me is the best part of the process. I mean, that's where I'm doing my work, and you're on a creative high, and then of course opening night comes, and certainly also for the singers. They're on stage for 3 hours and change, pouring their hearts out. The curtain comes down, and you're left with all this adrenaline, right? But that's why we do it, for those the short bursts of intense creativity.
Once again, Don Giovanni by Mozart, Saturday, August 20th at 1, Tuesday, August 23rd at 7:30, and Friday, August 26th at 7:30 at the Mahaiwe Performing Arts Center, of course, being presented to us by Berkshire Opera Festival. So now, you're right smack dab in the middle of this, getting set for this, and you say that you plan ahead. So you've already got next summer already, not even on the back burner, but more than the back burner.
Oh yeah, it's all cast. It's been cast for some time, and we're working on 2024 casting and discussing repertoire. I mean, we know we have, our repertoire plotted out through 2026, so that Brian can be casting about 2 years in advance. And then I will start planning next summer's. I'm already thinking about what the production is going to be for next summer, and that will happen more intensely once the curtain comes down on Giovanni, and I'll start my working with my set designer and all of that for the next summer.
Now, Jonathan, were you always interested in opera from an early age, and this is how you wound up with this path?
Yeah. I was a violinist growing up, so I was a musician. I loved classical music, and I kind of fell in love with opera. Kind of came to me when I was about 12, and kind of taught myself everything I wanted to know, and then it became a career path. I started working professionally when I was 18. And that's when I met Brian, actually, at Pittsburgh Opera. So, yeah, no, it's been a lovely, long career so far, and more to come, for sure.
Well, once again, it's opera in the Berkshires, the Berkshire Opera Festival. Once again, Don Giovanni. This will be at the Mahaiwe Theater. Once again, Saturday, August 20th at 1, Tuesday, August 23rd at 7:30, and Friday, August 26th at 7:30. Tickets are available on the web, which is berkshireoperafestival.org. Well, you must be on a little bit pins and needles now because it's not that far away.
I'm very excited. We're hunkering down, and actually we have to produce 3 Decembers first. So I'm in a lot of production. Even though I'm not directing that, I'm in all the production meetings and organizing all of that to get that show up. So, and then we have about a 3-day break once that closes before we start rehearsals for Giovanni, which then Brian and I dive in as conductor and director. This is really exciting. It's been a long break. I can't wait to present opera to the Berkshire audience again. I'm very, very excited.
Well, Jonathan, thanks for taking a few minutes and joining us today, and much success with Don Giovanni.
Thank you very much for having me, and we will talk soon.